Joining us now, former Navy SEAL and combat veteran, Republican Congressman Scott Taylor of Virginia. Congressman, thanks very much for joining the table. We've just heard the Democratic view. Now we've got you on the table to give us the Republican view of what's going to happen in this legislative agenda. How much, from your point of view, does it get dominated by Harvey, and how willing are you to sign up to any kind of funding that they need down in Texas?
Well, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me. I think it's very important that Americans come together, and you're seeing that in Texas with Harvey, with folks, first responders, regular folks even from Virginia are going down there and helping out. And I think that it's time for Congress to do the same thing. So hopefully folks don't try to fill it up with pork or something like that, but I think we have to help our neighbors. I think we have to come together in a bipartisan fashion and help folks down in Texas. And
the discussion about how some Texas Republicans weren't there to help Sandy?
I think that's irrelevant. I think it has nothing to do with right now, and I think that politics should fall to the side, and we should come together and help our neighbors.
Jake.
In past debates for disaster funding, Congress has pushed to offset it, to cut spending equal to the money that they're appropriating for disasters. Do you want to cut spending to pay for this bill?
Well, certainly I'm inclined to cut spending because I'm conservative, fiscal conservative. We'll see what happens when we get there next week and see what it looks like.
It's going to be a lot of money. It could be tens of billions of dollars.
I understand that, and we do have to look at everything, of course. Of course I'm inclined to cut spending to be able to make it happen, but at the end of the day, we got to help our neighbors.
But hold on a second, Congressman. Sure. Katrina was $60 billion. That was 2005. We're going to get more and more of these storms, right? I mean, at some point, Congress is going to have to deal with the fact that this is not just a one-off. You're going to keep getting asked for large amounts of money to deal with big storms that are going to come on an increasingly regular basis. This is going to change the way American government and conservatives have to deal with disaster financing.
Well, this isn't the first storm, of course, as you said, but like I said, I mean, we're Americans. We have to come together to help those that are in need, and I think that we have to do it in a bipartisan fashion.
Congressman, President Trump has not gotten much of the agenda that he promised to the American people through Congress, to say the least. And yet, when you look at the polls, they don't blame him. They blame you guys. And I'm wondering, can you illuminate us a little bit on why that is? And then secondly, how concerned are you that in this next cycle, we get to the end of this year and we still don't get those things done, that President Trump, aided by guys like Bannon, will come for guys like you?
Well, let me first say, I mean, I've been in Congress now for, 8 months, so I guess I'm part of the problem, right? And then it's pretty tradition to blame Congress. But I will push back slightly because, look, I have to take up for the president because I think that he has gotten a lot of things done. I will tell you, there's been historic reform in the VA, still a lot of places to go. And I represent a district that has
through Congress
more. Yeah, but he signed the legislation. So, we have historic accountability at the VA. I serve a district that has more active duty and veterans than anyone in the nation. That's a big deal. It's a big deal for Americans. He's also pulled back regulations to the tune of billions of dollars on the economy. We're looking at the border. That's one of his campaign promises, that the illegal immigration's down like 70%. I've visited the border. I've heard it right from the source. So I think he has got a lot of things done, actually. Yes, there has been some failures, even on our side as well, too, for everyone to come together to get health care reform, of course, and hopefully we get tax reform done. I think that's important for the American people. So I think he's actually got a lot of stuff accomplished.
Congressman, I want to ask you about something we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's big in your state. It's big around the country right now. You were critical of the president's response to what happened in Charlottesville. In the wake of your criticism of the president, you've drawn a Republican primary challenger next year for your House seat. The political context in Virginia right now, you've got this guy, Corey Stewart, who's running for the Senate there, nearly won the Republican nomination for governor in your state last year, who says he's making preservation of Confederate monuments. He's making that his key issue in 2018. Your opponent says she wants to make that an issue as well. I'm just curious, on that issue that's arising from Charlottesville about these Confederate monuments in Virginia and elsewhere, where do you stand on that? Is there a case to be made that these should come down? Are you an absolutist who says they should all stand? What do you stand on it?
We had a couple things in there. So first, let me say that if I'm attracting opponents from the extreme of the right and the extreme of the left, I'm probably doing a pretty good job for my folks. So what I will say is I support the president, but not blindly. I think that's important for anyone. So, but I support him. I think he's doing a lot of things that he said he was going to do. But if I disagree with something, I say it. If I agree with it, I'll support him and defend him. In terms of monuments, monuments, I think, I will paraphrase the African-American mayor of Richmond who said a couple months ago, keep the statues, teach the context. Let's build, let's not tear down. We have a very layered, imperfect history, and I think it's important for people to understand that. In the end, I think when tribal, racial, identity politics that are being pushed, quite frankly, from the left mostly, I think that is dangerous. I think it's bad for the American people, and in the end, it does nothing to advance or things that are the legitimate issues that affect people every single day. Tear down every statue in America does nothing for you. If you have a problem, your problem's still there. So I think you teach the context. We have an imperfect history, but thank God we have a country that we can change, that we can get to a better, more perfect union, as imperfect as we are, and that is not the case with most countries around the world.
An imperfect history. Congressman Scott Taylor, thanks very much.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.